Thank you for joining us. So today we're going to give you an introduction to the Made Smarter adoption programme. My name's Lucy Cross and I am one of 6 digital transformation specialists on the West Midlands Made Smarter adoption team. Made Smarter Adoption launched its West Midlands pilot in 2021, aimed at helping small and medium-sized manufacturing and engineering businesses adopt digital technologies and enhance their overall operations. Today, we're going to be exploring lots of ways that Made Smarter collaborates with companies to plan for the future. Some of those ways include developing a 3 to 5 year digital transformation roadmap, conducting a digital skills assessment to understand the strengths of the company's leaders, facilitating digital exploration and acceleration workshops with technology specialists to ensure the right solutions for the company's challenges. We offer match-funded grants of up to 50% with a maximum grant allowance of £20,000, leading change through digital transformation workshops, which we'll talk about a bit later, and providing impartial advice and support from digital specialists. Made Smarter is a UK-focused programme that aims to enhance manufacturing through the adoption of emerging technologies. We are committed to supporting the transformation of our businesses for many reasons. A few of those reasons being we want to look at improving UK productivity and international competitiveness. New technologies can boost productivity and efficiency in our manufacturing industry while making sure that we maintain the quality standards we expect. This makes us more attractive to international markets and helps us grow our export opportunities. We want to create better jobs in the manufacturing sector. So the introduction of new technologies offers opportunities for upskilling our employees, which can improve retention rates and address the skills gap challenges that we all face. Attracting new talent to the industry is a common challenge across regions. We all see it on a daily basis, and companies that embark on their digital transformation journey can provide higher skilled jobs with many more transferable skills. We also want to strengthen our UK supply chains and create new value streams. So as part of the government's industrial strategy, a key priority is to develop more resilient supply chains across essential sectors. We haven't seen that be more important than any time over the last 5 years. It really has become the priority that we have to face. Automation within businesses can help identify and mitigate risks proactively. Automated systems continuously monitor supply chain operations, flagging potential issues before they escalate into major disruptions. Digital transformation offers numerous benefits for businesses. While it's really important that we understand the broader impact these changes have and how each company contributes to the overall picture, within Made Smarter, we focus on the immediate effects that digital transformation can have on your business. A few ways that could be done. By implementing sensor technology, manufacturers can collect performance data from their machinery, provide a clear overview of their operations. This data can be leveraged to enhance efficiency, productivity and quality control. Additionally, the information gathered can facilitate predictive maintenance, enabling better planning, reducing downtime caused by machines breakdowns, thus keeping factories operational. Real-time data also accelerates a manufacturer's ability to adapt to changing customer needs and market demands. This information is invaluable for research and development if we want to bring in new and improved products. Furthermore, digital tools such as additive manufacturing, or more commonly known as 3D printing, allow for rapid prototyping and testing of ideas before they hit the market, as well as enabling mass customization and the production of end-use parts. Digital transformation also presents an opportunity to move towards greener manufacturing methods and to achieve net zero ambitions. With digital technology, manufacturers can streamline operations, minimise waste and eliminate inefficiencies, thereby improving their sustainability credentials and contributing to the overall UK's net zero goals. So Made Smarter West Midlands is headed by Coventry and Warwickshire Growth Hub, and we cover all of the traditional West Midlands areas, so Greater Birmingham and Solihull, the Black Country, Worcestershire, the Marches, Stoke-on-Trent Staffordshire. We're open to all manufacturers, so if you make something, it's very likely we would be quite happy to have a chat with you and see if there's any way that we can help you. We follow the standard government SME criteria, but the main thing to be aware of is if you're not sure if you're eligible, you get in touch with us and we can have a look. Small and medium-sized enterprises in the West Midlands region can easily apply directly through the Made Smarter website. Every region has a dedicated digital transformation specialist. You'll meet some of us later. And that DTS will conduct an initial face-to-face assessment on site to ensure the eligibility criteria is met and that there's a viable project aligned with the technologies covered within the programme. Made Smarter digital technologies empower businesses to collect and analyse data through machines while automating and streamlining their processes. This approach ultimately leads to a faster, more flexible and efficient organisation that produces higher quality products at a lower cost. So the listed technologies on the screen are all part of Industry 4.0, which integrates advancements in artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things. Anything listed there are the types of projects that we could cover. Many businesses register for Made Smarter without any sort of clear vision of the technologies that they wish to adopt. However, the specialist knowledge and up to 7 days of funded support available facilitate exploratory discussions to identify which projects would have the most significant impact for your business. This support also helps businesses develop a long-term vision with adequate budget and resource planning. Once the company registers online and receives a diagnostic report from their regional DTS, we will connect them with one of 2 catapults that serve as our delivery partners for the Made Smarter initiative in the West Midlands. Those are the Manufacturing Technology Centre and the Warwick Manufacturing Group. A digital technology specialist is assigned to the business to provide tailored industrial digital technology advice through a series of one-to-one bespoke workshops. We refer to these as our IDTAs, and you'll get to meet them later. For example, a digital roadmap was created for a company with a long trading history that recently experienced a change in ownership. The company had a strong business model and a loyal customer base, but its management structure needed development to fully utilise their current ERP system for comprehensive data capture. Despite having an ambitious growth strategy, the company needed support from the catapult and Made Smarter to establish a clear plan with manageable timelines to enhance their chances of success. On the screen, you'll see a very common sample of a digital roadmap you would be provided with. It's bespoke to your business and it forms part of your digital strategy. It's an invaluable tool that you will get to keep. The typical customer journey we have spoken about. You would meet with your DTS after registering on the website. We come out and deliver a bespoke session to understand what your needs are. And if we feel there's a project and your eligibility meets the criteria, we would match you with one of our catapults. However, the customer journey also highlights that for those companies who fall outside of the Made Smarter eligibility criteria, or perhaps other challenges present themselves that need to be addressed before the journey starts, you can see we've got a number of referral routes and we ensure you're directed to the external support that's right for your region and your business size. Support is provided to complete a grant application if funding is required, and companies will be required to nominate a digital champion. The digital champion will attend a lead-in change course to ensure the implementation process is supported and has the best chance of success. We all know the most challenging time of any sort of software implementation is the period when the implementation happens, and that's the point that you really do need support. We'll talk about that process a little bit later. So group sessions with blended delivery provide an opportunity for your digital champion to connect with other companies that are undergoing similar implementation journeys. By offering a combination of face-to-face and virtual learning, we have worked diligently to minimise the time taken away from the business, recognising the disruption and challenges that any new project can create. The course is delivered in partnership with Made Smarter and Coventry University and is designed to equip you with the skills needed to transform your business. It focuses on enhancing value creation, creating efficiencies, and engaging your employees to achieve better results. Peer networking has proven to be highly beneficial for businesses, allowing them to share best practices and support each other in overcoming challenges specific to their sector. So what have we achieved during our first few years in the West Midlands Made Smarter adoption team? This video will sum up some of the work that we've been doing.
there is a high level of documentation required with a lot of the equipment that we send out to our suppliers. That documentation was a heavily manual process which was taking a long time to do. That's where we set on a journey with Made Smarter to see if they could offer us some financial support which would accelerate that journey, and that they did.
The new machine that was put in place can do 30 plates an hour, and it's fully automated. It holds up to 400 plates within the machine itself and can be run unmanned. So the efficiency that gives us equates to about 66% increase in efficiency. It just gave us such a more wide opportunity to go into different commercial markets because we were so much quicker on what we were producing.
We were looking to improve our data capture significantly. We didn't have any processes in place to capture the data as accurately as we'd like to. Made Smarter were very helpful in helping us select a software package that would enable us to capture the data. That data has now been used to help us with our estimating versus our actual information that we get back from the machinery now.
And we've seen turnover increase by about 30%, and we've added 8 employees to the business, which is all positives for us going forward.
It's given us a spur and the inspiration to look at these sort of things, and it's enabled us to make that investment that perhaps we wouldn't have been able to before.
So you can see on the screen now some of our key statistics. The impact Made Smarter has had in 4 years is significant and will only grow as the programme is rolled out over the next few years. I'd now like to introduce you to James Shepherd from EasyFit Wardrobes, who has been through the programme, and they're going to share some of their experiences. So welcome, James. Just get you off mute.
Hello.
Hello. So, as I said to you, we're only going to have a few questions for you. We've got about 10 minutes to have a little chat, so nothing too daunting. But if you could just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and EasyFit Wardrobes.
So, my name is James Shepherd, and I'm the Managing Director of EasyFit Wardrobes. A little bit about my experience here. We're a family-run company. I've always been involved for, well, most if not all of my life. Originally it was founded by my dad. His circumstances changed, unfortunately, in 2009, and my job changed very quickly, and yeah, found myself into the position that I'm into now. As a company, we bespoke made-to-measure furniture, everything and anything. There is nothing we can't do, and most of our work is by hand. Pretty much old-fashioned way of manufacturing process, with modern standards is what we like to say. And yeah. Been established since '88, and we're constantly looking for new ways to promote ourselves, improve our product, become more diverse. And yeah, that would be the best summary of our company.
That's great, thank you. And so when we're thinking about what led you to approach Made Smarter for support, were there any key challenges that you could maybe highlight and maybe tell us how you felt Made Smarter helped you overcome some of those challenges?
Yeah, so I was had a brief chat with somebody at the Growth Hub, and they forwarded us over to Made Smarter and explained that there would be an opportunity for a visit from an outside source to come in and create us a digital roadmap. That for me at that moment was an unknown. I didn't know what a digital roadmap would be, but we met with a couple of gentlemen from Made Smarter Group that came in and had a little chat with us to work out what do we think didn't work too well, what would we like to improve on, and where do we see ourselves in the next couple of years. From there, we were very involved in a lot of discussions with how the business was ran, and it was great to have an outsider's view on what was perhaps needed. So in one sense, it's brilliant because, of course, know the business inside and out. It is my bread and butter, so to speak, but the outside experience of a second set of eyes of true professionals to come in and say, have you considered this and have you considered that, gave us an opportunity to look at alternative methods for us as a company, share the vision long term of what we'd like to do versus how we can do that, and have the support in the modern world that there was stuff and information we didn't know. And we were very, very grateful for the support.
Excellent. And I think similar to a lot of businesses, when we say a digital transformation roadmap, they really don't know what that means, but it is useful to have as a good starting point. So how would you say that the Made Smarter intervention, if in any way yet, has impacted the company? So just thinking of some of the different ways, perhaps the wider impact on the company.
Yeah. Short term and long term is usually how I break these things down. In the long term, we foresee that we are definitely going to create more jobs. I have guys that are very good with their hands in the sense that we make everything physically at this moment in time. And now they've got a great opportunity to be digitally upskilled. So they're doing the same job, but in a different format. And how that has come to pass is we've been supported to have a grant that would allow us to have a CNC. So most of our manufacturing processes were manual, by hand, by head, mathematics, certain, say, 1,001-year-old calculation set up in Excel and that sort of thing. But the CNC machines allowed us to have additional software that come alongside the CNC. So there's now a program where we can relay all of our products into there, digitally create everything that we want to, and transfer that information to the machine, offering a better product. Again, in the modern world, and long term, short term, yes, definitely have an opportunity to upskill our existing members of staff. We will definitely be able to employ more members of staff, generally improve what we do, but also there's going to be an opportunity to run an apprenticeship scheme for somebody that's looking to get into CNC work. We actually have an apprentice here now that, as he will complete one course with the additional support from Made Smarter and now the machine that we have in place, he will be able to go on to that CNC course, and without the machine and without the facility and the grant and the roadmap, we wouldn't be able to offer that to him. So we're very grateful.
Brilliant. And that's a really nice example actually of how, you know, automation and bringing automation into our businesses isn't about getting rid of jobs, is it? It's about upskilling and providing more opportunities. So that was a really nice example. Now I'm going to be naughty and throw just a bonus one in here just to, you know, catch you off guard there. So it's not a difficult one. So, you know, if you had to offer any words of wisdom to another company who has got challenges and they're not really sure whether the programme would be right for them, you know, would you find it fairly a simple process just to have a chat with somebody? Would you recommend they do that?
Yeah, 100%. So in my own experience as it is, there was always perhaps a little bit of reluctancy to have somebody come in from the outside world, because the unfortunate narrow-minded approach that I've got, and maybe a few others, would be, well, it's my business, I know what's what. But the truth is we don't. We know what's what inside our own four walls, but we don't know about what the facilities and the options are outside of the four walls. The truth is, without Made Smarter Group, we wouldn't be able to have afforded the machine. We couldn't have moved forward. We couldn't have had the insight and the experience and the shared knowledge that was given to us. bottom line from me, have a conversation. Absolutely brilliant. I could not be any happier with the service that we've been shown, the helpfulness, the experience. Everything has been truly, truly wonderful. And I would urge any company to get in touch and just listen. Great people, brilliant setup.
Thank you, James. That's really good to hear. So, yeah, as we said, and as James has said, if you're watching and thinking, I'm just not really sure whether we're in the right position or whether it's something we can move forward with, if there is even a project, it's definitely worth that conversation. So thank you, James. Thank you for answering those questions for us. So I did promise earlier that you would be hearing from a couple of our IDTAs from the catapults, and that's what we're going to move on to now. So today we're joined by Dennis Pellick from Warwick Manufacturing Group and Shay Taylor from the Manufacturing Technology Centre. So Dennis, I'm going to start with you just because Warwick is left on my screen and I tend to go left to right. So if you would be able just to talk us through how you see the role of an IDTA, maybe some of the support that WMG offers to the Made Smarter clients, if I can hand over to you.
Okay, thank you, Lucy. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I guess, when Shay talks to you about what we do as an IDTA from MTC, there might be some subtle differences between the way that they interact with clients and the way that they work through to get a roadmap, and that's partly because there are some differences between MTC and WMG, where we have our areas of specialisation, things that we do particularly well, and so does MTC. And that's why the DTSs, which you'll probably hear later, match you up with one or other organisation based on what they think your challenges are. And so that's good, and it's a real benefit of the programme that we have the opportunity to do that. But both Shay's team and our team at Warwick are a group of sort of specialists, if you like, in digital. Most of us have an engineering background, one sort or another. Some people are more data oriented. Some people have got expertise in automation, 3D printing. Myself in particular, business management systems, software. So we kind of match the right people to the right the right challenges in a client. But what we all do is we start off firstly with what we call a diagnostic workshop, which is, as Lucy said, we come and have a chat with you about what you're doing in your business, and where you want to go, the challenges you face, and all of that. There are a couple of sides to it. As we try to understand you, and we only have 2 or 3 hours max, which is a very short period of time to really get to know your business. So we're quite kind of direct in how we kind of get to that understanding. But the first thing is understand your business model, how you make money, and the capabilities that you need in your business to do that. And then we can look at 2 aspects. One, the factory, where you actually produce your products. Look at those processes, understand the issues that you've got, challenges, what you want to do, opportunities to exploit digital. As James was saying, there's lots of manual work in his business. What are the various options and opportunities to try and automate and digitize that and release people to do sort of higher quality work? But the other side of it is also the strategic nature of where you're going with your business. What are you trying to achieve? Where are you trying to get to? You might remember James earlier mentioned vision, and that's really important in the context of a digital transformation, because if you're going to transform and make change, you kind of need to know where you're heading and what you're trying to achieve. So we have a fair amount of discussion about that, because most of the people on the programme have ambition. They want to grow their business. They want to either grow their top line and expand. They want to improve their bottom line and the profitability so they can reinvest more in the future. But that growth might mean new products, new markets, new channels to market, all sorts of things that could involve. So the link between your strategy, your business model, and what goes on in your production can't really be decoupled. You have to look at them together. So when we understand that, we can start to put together what we think the pathway through this, the various digital options look like. And that's where we get to the roadmap, which is like a digital strategy on a page, really. As Lucy said, if it's done well, it's really valuable. You know, blow it up, A3, A2, pin it on your wall, use it as a guiding light as you kind of start thinking and acting on how you develop your business. And we work with you to understand the right priorities. So quite often what we think your first priority and where you should start with isn't necessarily what you might think. But at the end of the day, we'll have a discussion about it and we'll go with what you believe are the right priority. And if we've got that vision nailed, if we know where we're heading, then in some ways it doesn't really matter. There's only a few situations where you really want to avoid taking a misstep. But otherwise, if you know where you're heading, you can start in the place that makes most sense to you, and you will get there by one route or another. And once we've agreed what the priority is, we then have a conversation now about what support you need. Because there are certain skills you may have in your business. You may be very comfortable going through a technology software, technology selection and evaluation, and finding the right supplier. You may be very good at writing grant applications. You might be very good at writing down your requirements. You might be very good at all sorts of things. How you implement software. You may have somebody in your business, not very often, but sometimes you have companies where they've got someone who's done that before. So it's very important that with the days that we have, 7 days in total, probably 1 to 2 days is going to be used on this diagnostic, getting the roadmap together. So how do you want to use the other 4 or 5 days? That's the question. And we can flex and adapt to what you need to make this project a success. So some of the key things that we do before I hand over to Shay and give his take on things is you will end up selecting a supplier of digital technology, whether it's automation, 3D printing, software, whatever. How you make that decision, the options you consider, go through that evaluation and make a robust decision about the right technology and the right partner in equal measures for you going forward in the long term. How you come to that conclusion with confidence is something that is a really important part of what we do, because you need to make a good decision if you're going to get the most out of this long term. And I guess the other thing is how you make sure that you're equipped to implement that solution in a way that delivers the full benefit that is on offer. And I'll end with this point because it's quite common. But the examples that we've given so far in this talk have been quite simple. A digital machine, a 3D printer, some other digital equipment. You yourself can probably see how you could get a supplier, they come along and implement it, commission it, train you, and off you go. But when you get into the world of software, business management systems, machine monitoring, those systems aren't quite so easy to implement. They require some different skills which aren't altogether available in companies widely in the UK, not even large companies. And so we have the opportunity to help you to set up projects for success and provide some mentoring for the people who are leading the project your side. So complementary to the digital leadership course that Lucy mentioned earlier, a more personal support building on the knowledge and some of the skills that they picked up on that course. So I'll end with that, because knowing which technology to buy, having a grant to help with the investment case if it's uncertain in any way, they are the start of the journey. But implementing that solution and realising the benefits is ultimately what everyone wants to achieve.
Thank you,
So
Dennis.
I'll hand
That's
back
brilliant.
to Lucy and Shay on that note.
Thank you. So Shay, I'm going to hand over to you now, and you can talk us through how the MTC supports clients.
Yeah, no worries at all. Thank you very much, Lucy, and thank you, Dennis, as well. I think you stole the majority of my script, but I think it's important to realise that as the two catapults. So I'm Shay Taylor from the MTC, and as the two catapults, we do have some differences, but the approach is quite similar, and I suppose that's the whole point of this scheme, is to provide a standardised route for all businesses to get the same level of support with regards to their digitalisation. So as an industrial digital transformation advisor, IDTA, we support the Growth Hub in the digitalisation support for the customers. That is about that creation of the digital roadmap, but it's importantly understanding about the business. And as Dennis mentioned before, it's the company's vision, which all starts off with, and not just the company's vision as a whole, but what is their digital vision? How is that actually going to impact and make those changes as the business moves forward? And that journey is going to be different for every single business, and I think that's why we work closely together to ensure that any recommendations that we make and any plan that we put forward is in relation to what the business can adopt and employ, whether they're a 5-person small business or micro business, all the way through to 20, 30, 40, up to a couple of hundred staff. We're there to support and make sure the right decisions are made. And we don't just take into account digitalization as the implementation of technology, which is obviously is important. But again, we look at all facets of how do you then take that forward. So about the people, the process, and the technology. So those 3 particular aspects as well. And we cover everything, as Lucy's shown before, from autonomous robots, additive manufacturing, cybersecurity support, as well as systems integration, which is a very popular option with a lot of SMEs in terms of implementing, identifying, and being able to adopt and take on a new system or integrating it into their current process. Working with businesses is really quite a highlight with the Made Smart program, because seeing that change, seeing that adoption and understanding of the benefits of digital is really rewarding at the back end of it as well. Seeing them take the roadmap and actually drive it through with the business, getting everyone else on board, and seeing how it's going to affect their pain points, alleviate them. Also, we look into recognise in our report as well the things that you're doing well. It's really important to recognise the successes that the business already has within the company with regards to their digitalisation efforts. And a lot of businesses that we go into actually have started their journey with digital. So we can support from the ground up if they're taking their first steps. We can also focus on very high skilled areas where they need a bit of additional support with the facilities that we've got. And in some instances, we also have access to the MTC and WMG facilities, and each respectively, you'll be able to get a visit on site to see some of these digital technologies up front. And in working order to give that bit of inspiration and understanding about what differences it can make. And particularly at the MTC, we've got a large amount of additive manufacturing equipment and different types of robotics, from cobots to industrial robots, which we can showcase and provide support in that area as well. So I'd probably say one of the greatest highlights for me is actually just seeing and being able to impart the digital knowledge, as well as supporting customers through their journey, helping them appreciate the benefits of digitalization. And actually, a couple of months down the line, when we have that touch base through the DTS, is seeing how they've progressed and the success of that endeavor altogether. And like I said, we do want to help British manufacturing flourish, and this is such a brilliant program to actually get companies to adopt and drive towards that.
Thank you, Shay. So hopefully that was really useful to understand the perspective of the IDTAs and the types of support and the wider support that you're also getting alongside the Made Smarter support with the MTC and with WMG. So we're going to move on now, and I'm going to introduce you to some of our DTSs. So depending on the region that you're based in would dictate the DTS you are assigned. And we're going to hear from some of these DTSs now who are going to give an overview of themselves and offer a key highlight from a company they've worked with. I'm going to start by introducing Tim Kirby. Tim is our lead DTS for the West Midlands team. So Tim, I need you to introduce yourself, please, your area, and a key highlight from a company you've worked with.
Morning, everybody. I'm Tim Kirby. I'm a DTS for Stoke-on-Trent Staffordshire. Work for Made Smarter's a great opportunity, and we've looked after many great companies throughout the West Midlands. A key company for me, being in North Staffordshire, we have quite a large OEM around the area called JCB, and with a massive supply chain that sits through it. And I've worked with several companies who are in that supply chain. One is Ecam Engineering of Cheadle. They were having issues recruiting and keeping hold of welders. So we did a project with WMG and brought in a welding robot, implemented that, which has increased their sort of capacity. It's also allowed them to diversify and do other things, and not so much de-skill the job, but it's allowed them to put less skilled people where they can employ the skilled welders to do more productive and more key parts of work for JCB, and to branch now into other markets.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
Thanks,
And now
Liz.
I'm going to hand over to Martin Mangan. I'm not going to say where he looks after, but if you can introduce yourself, the region you look after, and a key highlight, please, from one of your companies.
Hello everyone, my name is Martin Mangan. I look after the Worcestershire area. I work hand in glove with the Worcestershire Growth Hub. We've dealt with hundreds and hundreds of companies across Worcestershire, everything from food manufacturers to aerospace, automotive companies to farmers. The highlight I could, for you, me becoming I'm an ex-accountant, so I like looking at the margins of everything. We've helped a very small company who makes sweets, 500,000 turnover, and the knowledge we imparted them, they didn't actually need the grant. They just came in, we gave them the knowledge, they took it, and they've increased their turnover by about 30% already. They are looking at us for robots at the moment, and it's going to be a successful project for a small company that was struggling, and now is doing very well for itself. Thanks, Lucy.
Thanks, Martin. And now I'm going to hand over to Yunus Khalifa. Same for you, please.
Hi, morning everyone. Yunus Khalifa, looking after Coventry and Warwickshire. I guess I'm the newest member to the team. I've been here for just over a year now. It's been a great experience, very rewarding to work with all of these SMEs. I think my personal background, I come from the automotive sector, so my last sort of 10 years was in wiring harness manufacturing, mainly looking at operations, change management, lean processes, and sort of customer relations, and really driving profit margins. So with Coventry and Warwickshire, we do cover North Warwickshire as well, so it's anything with a CV postcode plus parts of Coleshill and Tamworth. I guess the company that I like to speak about is the last company that I got through on the grants panel, which is a manufacturer of Chapter 8 road traffic barriers. Well, that's one of their segments that they do, and one of the challenging segments. So it was a high volume item, but was their lowest profit margin. So they actually had two areas to review. It was either the ERP elements or process control and automation. So we did look at both when we done the initial DTS review, and the one that was causing them the most concern was the cutting of the blow molds. So we decided to look into that, and it took us actually 7 months to get to a solution which sort of advocates the requirements for those professionals to come in and review the process, which the project value itself, the 20k, does support, but in essence, I guess the value of the project itself, it wasn't a major part of that. The main element was the support provided by the IDTAs, which provided invaluable for them. And so they were able to uptake a robotics project, which then made their product more profitable and also removed the risk of RSI, which was really a concern for them. So yeah, overall, been really good to be on the Made Smart program, and I'm looking forward to work with all the companies through this new cohort.
Thanks, Yunus. Thanks. So as I said, you already know I'm Lucy Cross. So I look after the greater Birmingham and Solihull area. I would say probably the highlight for me being in the Birmingham area is we have a very much thriving jewellery production region, and it's really nice for me when I get to go into companies that are historic companies, legacy companies, so companies that have been around for a very long time, and see how they are still thriving and how we can get them being even more sustainable moving forward. So one of the companies I went into we're really fortunate in Birmingham. It's a testing facility, but it also does do manufacturing as well. And there's only a few of these offices across the whole of the UK. We have one in Birmingham, and it was really nice and really interesting to be able to go in there and see some of the products that they have that pass through this facility. It was phenomenal, and we supported them. They're 250 years old, and they are moving forward. They'd made a lot of investment themselves in moving the business forward and becoming more automated, but they just needed that support and guidance as they were going through this journey. So it was really nice for us to go in, and we did a software implementation program for them. So that was really interesting. I love going into the businesses that are sort of got one that's 250 years old and another one that's 350 years old. So I love seeing those businesses change and develop and making sure that we can see them for many more years in the future. We do have 2 other DTSs that unfortunately are not able to be with us today. They're out with businesses, which is a good thing. We have Jit Gatcher, who looks after the Black Country. And we have Barry Jones, who looks after the marches. Both Jit and Barry have both been a part of the team since the pilot launched in 2021. And I know that they have lots and lots of stories from their businesses, because I've spoke to a lot of these businesses themselves who speak very highly of them. And they would have lots of experiences to share. So I'm just going to move us along. The programme has seen a rollout across regions to ensure even more areas are able to access the support of Made Smarter. So any companies in the displayed regions can register through the Made Smarter website, and as happens currently, the relevant team would be in touch. Here are a few case study videos just to show you some more of the ways that we've worked with companies over the last few years.
There's good data and bad data, and we were really collecting bad data. So for an example, if an operator would say they were running the machine and then when they went home they forgot to press pause, we'd then come into the next day and the machine could have been running what we think is 16 hours when really it was just 8.
One of the issues they were facing was the reliability of their data. Because operators may have had to walk to another location to go and fill in some documentation or complete some online forms, sometimes that meant that the data wasn't live and sometimes wasn't as reliable as it could be. So certainly shop floor data capture systems and live capturing of data direct from machinery meant that was pretty low-hanging fruit for them to be able to get a lot of value out of the system. So because they were already partnered with Seeky, it was a pretty clear choice to expand their relationship with our supplier.
Establishing those and driving them efficiencies is important, both for internal margins so that we can continue to invest, but fundamentally ensuring that we're adding value to our customers. The only way we can do that is by continually driving efficiency. As I say, we can have the best technology in terms of machine tool technology, but you've also got to couple that with how we're organising it, how we're running it, what data we capture for that, and then what continuous improvement activities come out of that. We've turned the project from conception to delivery in less than 6 months. From a grant perspective, I think the funding's come through in a timely manner so that we've been able to pay the suppliers that we've had, i.e. Seeky, for the software that we've adopted. For me, I can wholeheartedly recommend that, and it's fantastic to see that the industry is getting the support that's out there.
We're looking at ways to improve the business, and one of those areas we wanted to explore was, in particular, was digitalisation, but we didn't really know where to start, so it was good to engage with Made Smarter to get some advice on how to start that journey. We had some ideas, but we wanted to sort of piece that together.
Samuel Heath is innovative, forward-thinking business, and They sought out collaboration with us to future-proof their business. They wanted to improve the data collection process and traceability in the factory, as this would give them process history data for each part produced, and then they can use this data and analyze this data to make business decisions. It aligned business objectives with digital initiatives over a short, medium and long term. From the digital strategy roadmap we created, it was obvious that the top priority was a machine monitoring system.
Since then, we've introduced a bolt-on module to our ERP system that enables us to collect the data. The tricky bit has then been getting the machines to output their information directly into that system. All of the different machines have from different providers have different codes they use, different controllers they use. So we've had to sort of navigate that, working with the partners, the people who make the machines, working with that ERP provider, and trying to get all the systems to talk to each other. That's been the particularly difficult technical bit.
Like Samuel Heath, which I would say is at the forefront of digitisation, all SMEs can benefit, again, from productivity increases, from the reduced reliance on highly specialised skills and improved quality, so they can be more competitive. Well, Sam Heath quite recognised that it's in the clean air zone in Birmingham. It's got a need to improve productivity so it can reduce its reliance on staff and increase its output and quality, and that is done very well.
What it's done at the moment, it's enabled us to see on some of the machines where we're getting downtime. We've got a live trial running at the moment where we can see from the machines what job's running, when the machine is up, when it's down. So that's live. We can see straight away, and therefore we can act quicker. And over time we'll be able to collect that information and show which machines are performing better than others.
In terms of productivity, it's reduced our packing time of boxes down from almost 6 minutes in total down to a minute and a half. But the actual case erecting side has probably saved us about maybe 25 to 30% of that packing time. Thing is, with e-commerce and probably all business, it's competitive space, so you're always at tight margins.
So we help petshop.co.uk with their selection of a case erector, and it helps in the first part of their automation journey. They're looking at lots of digital adoption, and automation is a key part of that. So this will actually support reducing their manual operations by about a third or 2/3 to be specific.
So where this case erector and the Made Smarter program has really helped us being more productive, has ultimately made us more profitable, which has meant that we can now invest in future-proofing the business, invest in higher quality jobs, increasing employment, but also taking that money and using it to sort of wow customers and get to the fun side of how do we offer the very best customer service. Not only have they given us advice and also helped us sort of, as an entrepreneur, you've got so many different projects, but they helped us sort of streamline that down to really focus on where we should, where the quick low-hanging fruits and quick wins are. I think from start to finish, the Made Smarter team just ultimately became an extension of our team, and just, it was just really nice to be able to work with, third party, but to help us identify where we could improve our business, and from a genuine place of wanting to help.
With the economic challenges at the moment, investing in digital transformation is a key thing that all SMEs need to look into. There is various avenues that we can support in, from system integration, automation, AI, cybersecurity, and I encourage all SMEs to get in touch with us to see what opportunities are available. We offer intensive support, so they get 8 days of support from industry-leading manufacturing experts such as MTC and WMG. And we also support with the grant application and make sure that everything's correct and making the process as easy as possible for SMEs.
So thank you for taking the time to understand the Made Smarter adoption programme. Before we finish, we have had a couple of questions to start us off, and then I am going to ask the DTSs if they have any common questions that might be useful for those that are going to be watching this video. So the first question that generally gets asked is, can the grant be tapped into more than once up to the amount of 20k total? So I'll hand that one to Tim, because as a DTS, you could probably answer that one.
There is a facility to chip in more than once. Yes, we can have 2 chunks, 2 bites at the cherry up to the £20,000 for 2 different projects. Yeah, that's correct.
Thanks, Tim. And I'm going to give this one to Shay. So do we, the customer, present to the grant panel?
Okay, so in this instance, we work together to put together the grant application. So the grant application is supported by the customer themselves, with the DTS and myself, the IDTA. But the grant panel is actually presented by one of so whichever Catapult member IDTA is supporting you. So for example, if I was your IDTA, I would be collating the details and present on behalf of you to the panel and to best sell across the story and the digitalization journey to the panel ahead of time. So the customer doesn't need to worry about that.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Shay, because I know that's a question you get asked quite a lot, so I thought I'd throw that one at you. So is there any questions that any of the DTSs or the IDTAs that are on today can think of that you get asked quite a lot, maybe, that we don't feel we've covered?
Hi, Lucy. Just one I think that keeps coming up from clients I speak to is, I think I find a lot of them, I don't know about the other guys, when we go in to see a client, they will say, well, we didn't know there was support out there. And I think one of the other questions I get is, once we've done a project, is there any more support? You know, and you know, we know we've got the catapults, we know we've got the growth hubs, we know we've got local councils who can support. So I think that's a key one, you know, that clients don't just look towards Made Smarter. There are other options. If we cannot do a digital adaptation with them, there may be other options out there through the council, through growth hubs and other authorities.
Absolutely. Definitely. That one does come up a lot, doesn't it? What else can I get? Any other
Lucy,
questions?
I'm going to add to Tim's, actually, because and I know Martin and I have spent time with clients where you look at the roadmap and when we're focusing on what the first investment is, and we have a grant for that, but then what happens after that? So are there multiple kind of grant opportunities under Made Smarter? And the answer for that at the moment is no. If I'm making a really big investment, should I be having a bigger grant? So in proportion, we have some of our larger sort of SME clients are sort of knocking on 30,000, 30 million, 35 million. Some are spending $750,000. And at the moment, I think we would say to people, we're petitioning the government to try and make some amendments to the programme to help people make bigger investments. But at the moment, we have the 20,000 as a limit. But also, we have a lot of other programmes around. There are catapult programmes. There's Innovation UK, business growth. We have interns, KTPs, all sorts of other ways that we can support companies with projects on that roadmap after this first Made Smarter investment. So as an IDTA, Shay and I can advise clients about some of the more immediate funding and support programs that are around to help. And in some cases, we've done a little overlay to the roadmap that shows where these different fundings and support programs could come in and help. But it is the DTS that has the much wider ranging view of what support is available locally through kind of councils and local authorities, as well as these. So we kind of work hand in hand with the DTSs to try and help the client navigate their way through.
Yeah, definitely. And I always say when I speak to clients that actually, when you've got your IDTA there, if you have got any queries about support that maybe does sit a little bit outside of Made Smarter, it's worth asking the question, because like you say, we know a lot of the government supported projects that are out there. We tend to hear of those through the growth hubs. We don't always hear about the wealth of programs and support that's available through the catapults, because it is an immense package of support that's there. So definitely use those networks that you're building through the program to get that. We do have another query come forward. Martin, hand over to you.
Yeah, it's me. It's a standard query I get all the time from 2 points. One is a company that has multiple locations over the UK. Can we get Made Smarter elsewhere in the UK? And the answer is yes, but it is very different in the Midlands than it is elsewhere. So it's not uniform yet. So don't be surprised that what we offer is slightly different than what somebody else offers. And I get a lot of companies trying to get support outside of the West Midlands area, such as Gloucestershire near Worcestershire, and unfortunately you can't. You have to go to your local provider, and again, just be aware it's not exactly the same as ours. So if you listen to this, it won't be quite the same. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, no, definitely, that's really important. Okay, well, that comes to the end of our overview of Made Smarter. The only thing we'll finish up by saying is, if you do have any queries or questions, I hope the message from today is please do get in touch with us. We're more than happy to have a chat with you. There is a QR code on the screen, and for any registrations, they're just to be made through the Made Smarter website, and your relevant DTS would be in touch to arrange a meeting. But thank you for joining us today.